It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Good morning. Happy Monday to you. Happy Monday to all of us. I'm Philip Simon.
And of course, it has been a while since I have been here. And so it is certainly a pleasure to be back in your company on this Monday morning, as most of our young people get the opportunity to go back to school today. And I have the opportunity to come back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Phil, it is so good to see you, even if it is via Zoom.
Well, Star, you can see I am smiling big. I've got on my blue suit in recognition of cruise. I've even got the lapel going there. Listen, you're looking so pretty. Welcome
Thank
back.
you. Thank you, Phil. It is such a pleasure to be back. It's been just over 3 months since I've last sat with you all. And I think the last day I was here might have been June 15th. And I think my son was born on June 18th. So yeah, it really has been some time.
Well, I tell you what, you left us as two kinda. Now you guys have expanded. Listen, I've been enjoying just watching. I don't know if the viewers can see the photos, but my, what a beautiful boy.
Yeah, he is an absolute blessing and a joy, a really good baby in comparison. My first daughter, she came into this world quite the powerhouse, and she still is very demanding, knows what she wants, quite aggressive, goes after it, but a sweet soul. And he is very calm, very chill. He lets you know when he's hungry, and other than that, he's quite observant, likes to see what's going on, but it's really a sweet boy, and just a blessing to have two healthy kids, especially in this time, having had him in the pandemic, but just having a wonderful support system. I had him with Doctors Hospital there on the show this morning, and they were just phenomenal in my care and in his care. And so really grateful overall for the experience that we had with our healthcare system, and that all is well.
All is definitely well. And I'll tell you what, he belongs to Cairo. I hope you guys know that already.
Definitely. We have no confusion about it. She said to me before, Mommy, watch my baby. And
Right.
she was very clear that his needs need to be met. If he's crying or if he's upset, she's like, what are you doing? He's crying. Fix it.
Oh man, fun times, fun times. But you're right, Doctors Hospital is back. We've been talking about COVID care all summer long, and Atlantic Medical is also here to talk about their upcoming virtual health fair as well. So good times.
Yeah, indeed. And then in addition to that, of course, a very heavy day as we focus on COVID. Those numbers continue to rise. And so we want to make sure that we're addressing that on the show. But we also have a little something for the soul. Noel Van Dyke Pratt, he's going to join us today. He's talking about his poetry book, Matters of the Heart. And then again, on that COVID note, we've got Dr. Delon Brennan. He's going to be talking to us from an overall Ministry of Health perspective. And speaking of ministries, today, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the majority of our kids go back to school with the Ministry of Education. And so we're just going to have a very, very short snippet from the Director of Education himself coming in to kind of just share a word this morning as teachers and students prepare to go back for the first time.
Yeah, I tell you, lots of things happening, lots of different headlines. One just over the last couple of days with the President of the United States contracting COVID. And listen, we just don't have time for that this morning, but certainly 2020, man, 2020.
2020. And Phil, we still got 3 months left. This is the last quarter of the year. And so I'm sure there's still some things that remain to be seen. But certainly we're hoping and praying that everyone is having a good day, having a good fresh start to this last part of the year. And that certainly things will get better. Interesting national address last night, if you got a chance to listen to the Prime Minister speak. Still so many things uncertain for so many people. And so we can't necessarily do as much as we would like to do, but we certainly do wish people well and hope that this will be the end in a better way than it was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about it. So more to come. I'm sure the Prime Minister and that team throughout this week will be having all those additional meetings, and we'll see what they come out of it with. But listen, one person we haven't seen in a very long time is Godfrey Burnside. He's been enjoying this Lakers run throughout the playoffs. They kind of run into a little speed bump last night with those Miami Heat, but they're still up 2-1, right?
We did. Don't forget it. 2-1. It's good to see my Lakers back there. It's been a while. And I never thought I would see myself pulling for LeBron James, but yeah, here I sit. As a Laker, excited to get through and push through the series finale. You have to give them one, so they can win the battle. They're not going to win the war. But good morning to all the Miami Heat fans out there, and especially good morning to Godfrey Burnside, who's going to give us our first look at weather now.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Star, and welcome back. In your first look at the weather, sunrise, high pressure ridge building across the islands, and that generates some breezy conditions across the island through the next several days. So we have a nice day in store weather-wise, partly sunny and breezy, with a few showers, maybe a possible thunderstorm. Your high temperature 91, heat index 102. Tonight, partly cloudy and warm, with a few showers, possible thunderstorm. You look going down to 78 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's in regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 84 and 80. In Jamaica, 82 and 73. In Trinidad, 85 and 77, and the Turks and Caicos Islands, 90 and 78. Across North America, Atlanta, 67.55. In Raleigh, 67.55. In Miami, 86 and 78. Dallas, Texas, 70 and 54. And Toronto, Canada, 57 and 54. Throughout the week, we'll look at a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of showers and possible thunderstorms. Temperature daytime will be around the 90-degree mark at nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts her up on your first look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Thank you so much, Godfrey. Well, the Doctors Hospital Health System has been sharing with us how to mitigate COVID-19 risk factors relative to every health condition. And today we're going to be talking specifically about the primary care of a COVID-19 patient. Here to discuss this with us, we're very happy to welcome, always, Dr. Sheena Antonio Colley. She's the Chief Medical Officer of Doctors Hospital Health System. And we also have Dr. Juana Rogers. She's the Clinical Director of Primary Care and the Associate Health and Associate Health and Surveillance at the Doctors Hospital Health Systems. Ladies, good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning.
Always a pleasure to have Dr. Hospital with us. We always learn so much in these conversations with you. And today, of course, we get to learn really a lot more about the treatment of actual patients of COVID-19, which I think a lot of people are going to be interested in, especially as these numbers continue to rise. Dr. Antonio Colley, I want to get started with you. There seems to be no end to the skilled medical professionals at Doctors Hospital. Tell us about Dr. Rogers and the strengths that she brings to your team.
Well, Dr. Rogers is the clinical director, as you said, of Prime Care, which is our primary care service line at Doctors Hospital. Indeed, she is director of ambulatory services in general, and it includes primary care of COVID patients, of course. It also includes associate health. As you know, we have a robust health team in the institution, and so she's in charge of the health of all of them. And our newly minted surveillance unit for contact tracing and risk mitigation. She is an excellent partner in this, bringing a wealth of experience from the public health system, as well as throughout the Family Islands. She's a family practitioner by specialty, and she definitely is an asset to us at Doctors Hospital. Like I said, a big partner in this fight.
Certainly. I mean, with a resume like that, it sounds like she is an outstanding asset to the team. And certainly, I think we as a nation, we've leaned on Doctors Hospital so much in this process. So we're certainly happy to have her with you. And Dr. Rogers, I want to learn from you. What should a person do as soon as they learn that they have been exposed to coronavirus?
Thank you for having me. Once you've been exposed, you need to quarantine. A minimum of 14 days. And what you're doing in that quarantine time is that you're monitoring yourself for symptoms. You have a thermometer, you're checking to see if you get a cough. You notice that you're having what we call sinus, which is a postnasal drip. If you're having generalized body aches, these are the things that we want you to monitor. And in that quarantine time, we want you away from other members of the household, because if you do develop symptoms, then we know for sure that you become a risk for other persons who may be more vulnerable in your household. There is no cure at this point. So it's simply a matter of monitoring, and if you start to develop symptoms, treating the symptoms that you develop.
So let's actually talk about those symptoms. This is the first time I'm kind of hearing this particular one. You mentioned a postnasal drip, and I know that it is, of course, sinus season and flu season. And I've always thought of COVID-19 more of as a dry flu or cold. But you're saying that you can actually have postnasal drip as a symptom of coronavirus.
Absolutely. We have had persons who have come in who said it, and they thought it was just my sinus, and they were actually COVID-19 positive. And it was because they were having the postnasal drip, they got the sore throat. Then they noticed that my taste was not how it should be. They lost their sense of taste, they lost their sense of smell, which is the classic picture for COVID-19 infection. So these are things we ask you in your quarantine time to look for, because you have to be isolated for a minimum of 14 days.
Okay. Now, once it is confirmed that a person is positive for COVID-19, what steps should they take then?
So we go from having a quarantine to a complete isolation. And a complete isolation means that you are in what we would call a sick room. That's just yours. If possible, your own bathroom, because now you become a threat, so to speak, to other members of the household. You treat your symptoms, your ibuprofen if you're not allergic for your fever or your pain, cough or cold elixirs, what you may have, bearing in mind, of course, that certain things, certain cough syrups, certain runny nose elixirs work with certain persons. So if you're hypertensive, you want to have those type of cough syrups that are for persons with high blood pressure. If you're diabetic, you want to have those cough and cold elixirs that have no sugars. So these things you have to look for. And of course, your multivitamins, everybody's into the immune boosters, the vitamin C, the vitamin D3, the zinc. Of course, I tell everybody, please maintain your hydration. Once you start to get fever, you get dehydrated. You're in a closed room. This is a hot time of the year. Stay hydrated as much as possible. And once you're positive, now the CDC guidelines have changed where they say you have to isolate for about 10 days after the onset of your symptoms. And then you just stay in isolation up to 24 hours after those symptoms resolve. And when we say symptoms resolve, that means 24 hours of not having to take any medications because you feel nothing.
Wow. Wow. So this is really an extended sickness when you think about it like that. Dr. Colley, what is the level of care COVID-19 patients will still be receiving at Doctors Hospital West?
So Doctors Hospital West continues to be a tertiary center for the care of COVID-19 patients. So we treat the sickest of the sick, in other words. So these are patients that usually will require oxygen therapy, high flow oxygen, as well as patients that will need ventilatory support. In other words, we have to put them on a breathing machine in order to assist them with breathing. Also, patients that might require certain types of medications that you can only get in the hospital. Critical care medications in order to assist them with their hemodynamics, their blood pressure, etc. And those patients that might require, as Dr. Rogers say, because the fevers are so high, require IV hydration as well too. So Doctors Hospital West continues to serve that populace of COVID-19 patients.
Okay, well, ladies, we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise. Dr. Rogers, congratulations to you on joining this team, and thank you so much for the work that you've been putting in there. We hope that people are paying attention to these signs and symptoms, that they're taking it seriously, the 14-day quarantine period, getting tested if necessary, and then proceeding on from that test if they are positive, to really isolate themselves so that we can get these numbers under control. But we're grateful to you, ladies, for helping us as much as possible as you can to do that. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching Bahamas Sunrise. We'll be back with more after this commercial.
What started as a local insurance company with humble beginnings has grown to serve an entire region. Colonial, Atlantic Medical, Security in General, and NEBA are now unifying as CG Atlantic. Though our names have changed, our founding promise remains the same. We are still the company that has always and will always put people first. A new name for a stronger future.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence, every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 321st or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
The sports we play depend on the health we build. So let's stay healthy. Wear a mask and practice social distancing and hand washing to protect yourself and others. Remember, COVID-19 is not a game.
A public service message from the Bahamas Olympic Committee.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. It's a privilege and a pleasure to have this next guest with us. He is Noel Van Dyke Pratt, author of Matters of the Heart, a book of poetry. He also happens to be the chairperson of the Bahamas Primary School Student of the Year Foundation. That's probably where you know him from best, but he is also very talented. Good morning. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, Noel. I see you got the beard matching the background there.
Good morning and good morning, Bahamas. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be on today.
Thank you so much for joining us. So tell us a little bit about Matters of the Heart.
Matters of the Heart is really an authentic piece of work. It's a combination of poetry that depicts different aspects of life, from what's happening politically, socially, emotionally, relationally, I mean, you name it. It just covers a whole gamut of different emotions and things that happen in normal life. In fact, this wasn't originated as a book. This was originated, and in fact, I have a poem, one of my favorite poems actually, that was originated almost 20 years ago. So it just came from things that were occurring and just an inspiration to speak about it.
So it's just really, like you said, inspiration coming from, the matters of the day, of the moment, and how you felt and reacted to it, just writing it down and saving it. And saving it. Yeah. So what inspired you? I mean, what made you decide? It's just something on the inside that just had to come out?
Yes, actually, that's exactly how it was. It was just things that affected me deeply. in my heart, in my spirit, in my soul. And I just had a need to write. And that's basically how it started. And so, I think it's one of the things that if you have an innate ability or a gifting, somehow it's just pent up in you and it has to get out. And that's how it translated in my situation.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the book, Now Matters of the Heart. What are some of the themes of the poems that you have in there?
Well, there are different themes. Some of it, like I say, deals with relationships. One deals with, for instance, there's a poem called The Choice, and The Choice really deals with fidelity. It deals with the ups and downs of life that a couple would go through. But even through those ups and the downs, they still have that commitment toward one another. Then we have one of my favorite poems, which is entitled My Country, which is the oldest poem in the book. And that deals with all of the different aspects of things that would have happened in the country. And the thing about art, what I think is so relevant, is that even though it was done 20 years ago or almost 20 years ago, you could look at that poem right now and it speaks to what's happening right now here today. And so some things transcend time, and that is one of those things that does that, really effortlessly. And so it's different things that I talk about my feelings and my thoughts toward God in some of the poems. In some of the poems, I talk. In fact, the last poem that was done in the book was actually Dorian, which was directly in relation and response to the devastation that Dorian had on the Bahamas, just about a year ago. So, it's just different things from different areas and the inspiration that came from that.
Yeah, different things, different areas, even different decades. I mean, a very long time of writing and compiling, not with the original purpose of putting it into a book, but
right,
that's where we are today. What was the pivot or the moment that you decided, you know what, let me put this all together and share this with others?
Well, I would guess what you would call it is your aha moment. My aha moment really came when several people were talking to me because, I would from time to time show people my writing and little poems and stuff like that. And they say, you need to put that in a book. It's a talent that you have. And sometimes I think we don't realize the real giftings we have because we sort of, it's always been there. We sort of take it for granted. And so the one thing I say, you could be fired from a job, but you can never be fired from your gift. And so your gift is something that comes out no matter what. And so just with that, I was really encouraged to go ahead and compile these things together. And when I compiled it together, I said, you know what? This is awesome. And not just tooting my own horn, but I'm just saying, I saw how it all came together and how it really can be an inspiration to persons, not just older persons, but even younger persons. Because again, these are things and emotions that everyone are familiar with, that they've gone through, and especially us in our Bahamian society, these are things that people could connect with. This is down home. This is things that people could connect with right here in the Bahamas, as well as someone from abroad, because we are all humans and we all have basic emotions and go through these challenges of life.
That's excellent, Noel. Looking forward to everybody actually getting to see what I've already seen, and thank you so much for that. But how can people get in touch with you? How can people order the book? Where's it at actually?
Well, actually, when the book initially came out, that's the beginning of the real impact of the pandemic. So everything got shut down. So it wasn't a situation that I was able to get it into the bookstores or anything as yet. But what I do, I am able to personally order these books, and so persons could get in contact with me at nvpratt and the number 1 at gmail.com. And they can also look at me at I have an author's page and it's author N. Van Dyke Pratt on Facebook. And so again, these are means by which you can get in contact with me, and I'll be more than happy to get copies of the book for you.
All right, excellent. Noel Van Dyke Pratt, author of Matters of the Heart, a book of poetry. Thank you so much for being here on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you. And thank you, Bahamas.
All right, great. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
What started as a local insurance company with humble beginnings has grown to serve an entire region. Colonial, Atlantic Medical, Security and General, and NEBA are now unifying as CG Atlantic. Though our names have changed, our founding promise remains the same. We are still the company that has always and will always put people first. A new name for a stronger future.
Welcome to Doctors Hospital. As the Bahamas reopens, we at Doctors Hospital have been hard at work preparing for the new normal. The health and safety of our patients, associates, and others entering the hospital space is ever paramount and shapes the experience as you enter our facilities. All persons entering the hospital will be COVID screened, which includes a temperature check and a few short questions. There's also mandatory hand and shoe washing stations upon entry. Masks are required and can be provided if necessary. To further limit contact, Doctors Hospital has launched a concierge service that allows for pre-registration, a hospital itinerary, in-car waiting, and a navigator to guide you through your visit. Our pharmacy is now offering curbside pickup and delivery services for prescriptions as well. Social distancing markers are placed around the facility, and scheduling for imaging, including CAT scans, mammograms, and 3T MRIs. Laboratory, including our new same-day COVID-19 PCR testing, rehabilitation, and other services, has also been adjusted. Doctors Hospital is here to serve you with the same quality and care that you've come to expect, even as we enter a new normal. Now, more than ever, Doctors Hospital continues to be trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. It's good to be here at the halfway point. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
And I'm Philip Simon. Happy Monday to you once again.
Yes, we hope that you've been enjoying the show so far. Of course, we've been talking with Doctors Hospital about how to treat those COVID-19 symptoms. And Phil, I'm telling you that I am very surprised about the postnasal drip. I really thought that they had said that this was like, a very dry flu. And so, I think that there's some of us with sinus who are really concerned.
I'll tell you what, the revelations have been fast and furious relative to this virus. We had a show not too long ago where COVID was actually traced within fecal matter.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, this is definitely something new. And I guess this is what happens when something happens for the first time. You're just learning about it and different things change, and they change frequently, the more information that you get. And so we're going to be talking some more. We have Dr. Delon Brennan in the second half of the show, and he's going to be giving us an overall perspective of it in the country. And of course, we know that some students are going back to school today, especially in our family islands that are going in person for the first time. So we're hoping and trusting that things are in place and that systems will work out, and really hoping that we can get these numbers in Nassau down, because they continue to just skyrocket.
It's just discipline, man. It's just discipline. We just need to be more disciplined. Even if it's not discipline, at least have more concern and care. I mean, we really are not acting like we're our brother's keepers here. Anyway, Zest Wellness is also here, the team from Atlantic Medical, to tell us about their upcoming virtual fair. I forgot to say happy birthday this morning to Alonzo Thompson, also celebrating a birthday, and they say a huge shout out to our grandson, Sion Duncan Robinson, who celebrates his big 7th birthday today, and that's coming in from the entire Pobo and Duncan families. 7 is a really good number, my brother. Happy birthday.
It really is. Happy birthday to you. Happy 7th birthday to you. And to all of you who are celebrating, we celebrate with you, wishing you a wonderful day and a beautiful week.
That's right. So now Godfrey Burnside, I was going to say Mr. Laker himself, but that would be taking the title away from Miss Laker here on Bahamas at Sunrise. But listen, you both enjoy that pending championship. Here's Godfrey Burnside with our second look with weather.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First in Insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Phil, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather sunrise, a trip around the tropics. We do have Tropical Storm Gamma this morning, and at 5 a.m., Gamma was located near latitude 22.7 degrees north, longitude 87.5 degrees west, some 155 miles northwest of Cozumel in Mexico. Gamma is moving west-southwest at 2 miles per hour, winds now 50 miles per hour. And then we're tracking Tropical Depression number 26 at 5 a.m. this morning. Tropical Depression number 26 was located near latitude 17.0 degrees north, longitude 78.2 degrees west, some 90 miles south of Negril in Mexico, moving west-northwest at 9 miles per hour, winds now 35 miles per hour. But Tropical Depression number 26 is supposed to become a tropical storm later today. If it does, it will be Delta. Also, tropical storm formation expected during the next 5 days. A local scene, ridge of high pressure across the islands will generate some breathing conditions on most of the islands today. Today, east to southeast at 15 North Sea, 3 or 5 feet in the northwest Bahamas, with 15-20 North Seas, 4 to 6 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Tuesday, those winds continue east to southeast at 15 North Sea, 2 to 5 in the northwest Bahamas, 15-20 North Seas, 4 to 6 feet over central and southeastern islands. And on Wednesday, same, those winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 North Sea, 2 to 4 over the northwest Bahamas, 15 North Sea, 2 to 5 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a high tide at 10:37 this morning. Your next low tide will be at 5 p.m. this evening. High gain tonight at 10:52. Sunset 6:53 this evening. Rising on 7:04. UV index 8. Your water temperature 82 degrees Fahrenheit. And your moon phase full moon. Then a look. Next is sun and clouds of the week. Chance of some showers, possible thunderstorms. Temperature daytime be around 90-degree mark. At nighttime, upper 70s. That puts you up in your final look at weather sunrise. I'm Dr. Burnside. Bahamas and Sun will be back after a short commercial break.
What started as a local insurance company with humble beginnings has grown to serve an entire region. Colonial, Atlantic Medical, Security in General, and NEBA are now unifying as CG Atlantic. Though our names have changed, our founding promise remains the same. We are still the company that has always and will always put people first. A new name for a stronger future.
Do you want to know more about the scriptures, the early Christian church, its teachings, suffering, other religions, the authenticity of the Bible. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you. Enroll in a 3-year certificate program. Classes are conducted from NASA and Freeport on Saturday mornings. Don't miss a class. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with high-speed internet. Contact us at 603-2481. Visit our Facebook page. Pick up an application form at any Anglican church or at Addington House on Sands Road. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you so much for staying with us. Well, we told you that we would continue with this conversation this morning. We've seen over 4,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country to date. And out of every 100 Nasuvians, there's one person that has been infected. And those numbers are very high. So there was only one person that we wanted to talk to you about this. Of course, he's the Deputy Chief Medical Officer. Very happy to welcome Dr. DeLon Brennan. Good morning, Dr. Brennan, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise again.
Good morning, Star. Thank you for having me.
It is always a pleasure to have you with us. And I'm so happy I get to talk to you. I think when I left, we might have had 40 cases, if that, and now it's at 4,000. So the rate is quite alarming. Can you give us the specifics in terms of what that current rate is?
Sure. So we've seen over 4,400 cases in the country at this point. Our latest numbers for yesterday said that we had 45 new cases. We know that we've been averaging somewhere in the 75 to 80 when you consider some of the peaks and valleys over the past few weeks. So that number, while is encouraging, it does not necessarily give us an idea that we believe that is going to be steady. We believe that likely over the weekend, we tend to have lower numbers. And then when we get to during the course of the week, we will see a spike in numbers again because more testing just happens during the course of the weekend. During the week. So we expect that we will likely have some higher numbers. So we continue to be concerned with, higher daily numbers, higher cumulative rolling average numbers. The real concern, I would say, for me as a healthcare provider is the number of hospitalizations and the number of deaths that we're having, because I know a lot of people are, they have concern over the individual numbers themselves and say, hey, these numbers go up and down. Can we really trust them? What I can tell you is the numbers of people who are hospitalized and the numbers of people who are dying continues to rise. And that is a good indication that the numbers of infections that are going on in the country are still at a concerning level that we need to consider what are we going to really take on to make some change with it.
Yeah, and that concerns me, Dr. Brennan. I mean, it's like, at what point does it stop? At what point do we get to this flattening of the curve that we'd achieved the first time? And obviously, things have changed significantly. We appreciate the woes of the economy. We understand the political pressures that may be. And, we've seen it ourselves because of social media, people responding so negatively to lockdowns, maybe some fatigue related to it. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the course of action that we take again, given that the numbers are so high. And we've not seen us take that course of action over these past few weeks. So what exactly can be done? Because when we're talking about, like you said, a loss of life, when we're talking about our hospital capacity and the fact that we're going to be opening borders again soon, this is a concern. What do we actually do to see these numbers come down?
We're going to have to take it on as the people rather than worrying about what it is that the government is going to do. I think we've heard what the actions are that need to be taken, but it doesn't take the government doing them for us to take them on personally. And I say that from an individual personal responsibility, but also collective when you think of institutions to go along with it. So we know the thing that works for the virus, just like a lockdown worked for the virus, is socially distancing ourselves, making sure that we don't come within 6 feet of people in a social setting. We wear masks when we're around other people. We do hand sanitization. These are things that we know absolutely work. And so how are we going to address that from a personal perspective? Because all the lockdowns and curfews did was say that we now have a law in place that says you have to do it. But right now, without a law in place, does that mean that it stops us from doing so? It doesn't. We have to take it on as individuals and take it on as a responsibility to say, I want to protect myself. I want to protect those in my household. I want to protect those in my community. And so I think it changes the narrative on who's responsible for making sure it happens from this sort of vague, they need to do it, as in the government, versus we need to do it and I need to take it on myself to make sure that it doesn't affect me. In addition to that, I think institutions need to be a little bit more proactive about how they take it on themselves as well. What we see is business places and social places and places of worship are saying, well, if the government says I can have, a service, or I can have my business open, just keep it wide open and leave the responsibility on the government. It wasn't me who said I could do it. It was the government who said I could do it. No. We need to take it on and say, if we are going to do this, then the way to do this is in a responsible manner with evidence, with the evidence base that says we can do it, with keeping people apart. We can do it in a way that makes sure we have adequate amounts of hand sanitization capabilities available to us. We can do this in a way that keeps us safe at the same time. And, I think one of the big things for our workplaces is just because it says you can open up doesn't mean that everybody should be there. Because one of the huge things I've noticed is that we allow everyone who works at an institution to kind of come in, whether that's government institutions, whether it's private employers, everyone comes to work. And then somebody shows up who's positive, and then the whole place has to shut down because everyone's been exposed. There needs to be cleaning done. Well, if we had instituted real work from home policies, if we had instituted shift systems, if we had minimized the number of people who were in the workplace at the same time, we could continue with business even though there may be an exposure, but you won't expose all the people who are involved with it. You would minimize the interactions between people, and that could happen. I mean, one of the things that really hurt me, and I know that's long, was that in one of our public institutions, they're talking about the fact that they still have their lunchroom open. And even though people will physically space when they're at their work desk or when they're in the actual delivering care services, people are still congregating in the lunchroom, and they're able to, that's the time when it even is worse because they are there. They don't have a mask on because they're eating, and they will be there for an hour. So definitely more than 15 minutes at a time. And it's the only time they get to interact. But guess what? You've now exposed all those people to COVID as soon as somebody shows up as positive. And so we really have to take this seriously, both individually and as a collective.
All right. I know that we've seen obviously an increase in numbers because we've done an increase in testing. How are we with contact tracing? Is that still relevant to the strategy?
Oh, absolutely. Still relevant. I think our issue continues to be just having enough bodies in the human resource capacity to be able to do contact tracing really well. I think, our aim is to make sure that we get in contact with every individual who is a case, and if they provide us with their contacts, then we'd be able to get in contact with them. And we hope to be able to do it all within the first 48 hours of knowing that that person has tested as positive. And so that is a challenge when, we're no longer having, 3, 4, 5 cases a day. We're up to 40, 50, 100 cases in a day. The number of persons that it takes to be able to contact all of those persons and all of those contacts is enormous. And we have human resource challenges to be able to do so.
Okay. All right, Dr. Brennan, before we go, any new treatments on the horizon? Any sort of positive outlook from that perspective?
So most of the treatments are still fairly experimental. There are, the remdesivir is still looking pretty good. The antiviral that's used in the treatment of HIV is looking pretty positive. So it's not been released necessarily for widespread use in individuals, but there has been some positive approach to being able to use it for those who are infected and hospitalized to be able to shorten their course. Not really used much as an outpatient therapy, and it doesn't prevent anyone from getting ill. It just shortens the course. Dexamethasone is another one that is being used for those who are having respiratory difficulties. We're able to use that and help out with decreasing the inflammation, decreasing the mucus production, and helping out with breathing issues to go with that. And mostly used in persons who require supplemental oxygen or are admitted to an ICU. So we're using that in country as well. But to say there are, miracle treatments that are out there that are going to stop people from getting it just isn't there. There's a lot being said about, supplementing your immune system, so that if you do get it, or to protect you from getting infected if you're exposed. That's always a worthwhile approach. I think we want that for people when it comes to any illness. We want to make sure that you are in tip-top shape. And so realistically, rather than focusing on what is the magic pill, people are talking about, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. Sure, but what you could do is have a healthy diet that includes all of those things in your diet, making sure that you have good exercise. I mean, one of the best sources of vitamin D is sunlight. So just being able to get out into the sun, walk, if you want to supplement with a multivitamin, that's great. And I think you'd be able to get as much as your body can handle through a good diet, a multivitamin, and getting out and exercising. That would be the best thing to really boost your immune system.
All right. Well, Dr. Biden, thank you so much for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise, continuing to honor your team, celebrate your team for the hard work that you've been putting in these past few months, and just continuing to pray for you guys as we move forward, hoping that people will take it seriously and realize that it is up to us as individuals to just follow the protocols. That's the most that we can do at this point, and then certainly hope for the best. So thank you for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
What started as a local insurance company with humble beginnings has grown to serve an entire region. Colonial, Atlantic Medical, Security and General, and NEBA are now unifying as CG Atlantic. Though our names have changed, our founding promise remains the same. We are still the company that has always and will always put people first. A new name for a stronger future.
The COVID-19 pandemic demands the most modern techniques and highest standards of sanitizing to ensure the safety of schools, businesses, churches, and of the ones we love. Treeline Divine Professional Sanitizers offers state-of-the-art electrostatic technology, providing maximum efficiency and coverage to protect your environment and preserve your health against mold and 99% of bacteria and viruses, including COVID-19. With pricing to match your budget and standards to meet your highest expectations, we invite you to contact us for a free analysis of your weekly, monthly, or single-use needs. COVID-19's impact is strong, but our commitment to restoring your safety is even stronger. Treeline Divine Sanitizing. Spread confidence.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We've got the man himself back with us, Donovan Ingram, Corporate Wellness Manager, Atlantic Medical. Donovan, welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise, man.
Phil, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Listen, so we're cultivating wellness in uncertain times, all excited about Zest Fest this coming Wednesday, October 7th.
Right. So Zest Fest is our first annual virtual health fair. It's going to be an amazing event from what we have lined up. We have Michael Apollo. He's an international psychiatrist and mindfulness expert. He's going to talk about designing behavior. And then we also have Amy Vest. She's going to be a part of our lead speakers as well. She's also a professor from Stanford University. She has a lot of information about designing behavior as well. And then we have a whole list of panelists. We have a psychology panel talking about mental health. And we also have a wellness panel talking about how to improve wellness as we return back into the workspace. And our last few hours, go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead, sorry.
Now, our last few hours are a collection of vendors across many jurisdictions that speak to nutrition, physiotherapy, sleep habits, and even backyard farming. So we have a very well-versed holistic wellness program offered for you guys next week Wednesday, well, this Wednesday.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was interrupting you because I always get excited when you guys are doing these things, Donovan. Zest Fest, I mean, it's timely. It's talking about mental health. I mean, you can see from the headlines recently, it's a very important topic. Obviously, COVID has just changed our world in 2020. So it's good to be hearing professionals from this perspective. You're talking about improving sleep, ergonomics, biodynamic farming. I think that was one of the topics, CrossFit. And of course, when you're doing CrossFit, that comes with some aches and pains. So listen, all of these topics really tie so well together. Why is this such an important thing for you guys to be doing?
Well, it's important now because, we got to keep wellness in the forefront of everyone's minds. So that's not just here for our Bahamas jurisdiction. That's for Bermuda, Turks and Caicos, BVI, Barbados, all of our jurisdictions. Everyone is faced with the same outcome right now. We've been locked up in our homes, so our mindset is not intact as much as we want it to be, and we definitely need some advice on that. But at the same time, are we eating healthy? Are we exercising? Those reminders need to be set as well.
So who's this targeted for? I mean, is this just young adults, older persons?
Well, we hope everyone would come. We hope from the young to the older, the mature to the immature, the knowledgeable to the less knowledgeable. We're opening it up to the general public, so it's not an exclusive event. It is free of charge. In fact, I want to point out that it is a 4-hour live segment, but we're not encouraging persons to think of 4 hours. Think of looking at the roster, look at the timeline, and determine which segment you think you're most interested in. Most of those segments are 10, 20, or 30 minutes maximum. And definitely you can get something from at least one of those segments, if not all.
And of course, these segments, they will be available even after the live part, right?
Right. And in fact, if you happen to miss the live event, we will record it. And within 24 hours, it will be made available on our wellness blog. And for those of you who may not remember, our wellness blog is www.zestwellnesscgiblog.com.
It's been a long year, and obviously, like we keep on saying, COVID has changed a lot of our realities. What has been the feedback out there, especially from your corporate environment?
Well, there's been a huge cry for mental advice, mental support. We've been doing a lot of question and answer segments with employees. We've been doing a lot of mental health segments with employees. And those things are starting to take form. Everyone is definitely eager to get back outside and get into outdoor activities like we did in the past, our Wellness in the Park event. But it's not the time for that just yet. And in fact, November is harvest season. That's right around the corner. It's quite October still, but we're in the harvest season and we want to get out and get persons into farms, get them backyard gardening, educate them about backyard gardening. And a lot of persons are eager for that information. So we're encouraging persons to start your own garden, get creative at home whilst you're at home, see what spaces are available, get those supplies, and get your activities going. It is a great form of exercise. It helps with the mindset. And at the end of the day, you're eating a healthier meal.
Yeah. Dr. Brennan was actually just before we started this segment was talking about this need for preventative health care and really keeping care with the maintenance of our bodies as a means to help protect us, particularly in these times. You've always been certainly a nutrition advocate. What do you continue to say to people during this time as we continue to see these numbers rising from COVID? It's just incredible.
Yeah. Well, right now it's the best time right now to be more mindful than anything else. We have to be more mindful of our environment. We have to be more mindful of the amount of crowd we're around. We have to be more mindful of washing our hands. But definitely, we still have to be very mindful of the foods we eat and are we exerting enough energy through exercise. The recommendation is 5 to 6 servings of fruits and veg per day. And also in terms of exercise, minimum 1 hour of exercise for 3 to 4 days a week. And if you're not doing those things, readjust your mindset. Think about it, plan it out, get into a routine. Those are the things that you need to be doing right now. And definitely drink a lot of water. That's a very important topic.
All right. So as your alarm goes off, just give us the details one more time for this coming Wednesday's Cultivating Wellness in Uncertain Times, Zest Fest.
All right. So if you're interested in Zest Fest, it's going to be a great event. It's not Oktoberfest. It's Zest Fest. It's a wellness event. It is the 7th of October. That's this coming Wednesday. It will start 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will end at 2 p.m. Again, find the segment that you're interested in, join for 10, 20, or 30 minutes. Or if you want to spend the entire day with us, you can join in. We have a lot of international speakers, whereas we also have local speakers. It is promising to be a very holistic event.
All right, excellent, excellent stuff, Donovan. Donovan Ingram, Corporate Wellness Manager, Atlantic Medical. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's now actually Carlisle Group and not Atlantic Medical, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, you know, I was gonna say, but you know, we'll deal with that another time. All right, you're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
What started as a local insurance company with humble beginnings has grown to serve an entire region. Colonial, Atlantic Medical, Security and General, and NEBA are now unifying as CG Atlantic. Though our names have changed, our founding promise remains the same. We are still the company that has always and will always put people first. A new name for a stronger future.
One thing, two things. Blue thing, all things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
The COVID-19 pandemic demands the most modern techniques and highest standards of sanitizing to ensure the safety of schools, businesses, churches, and the ones we love. Treeline Divine Professional Sanitizers offers state-of-the-art electrostatic technology, providing maximum efficiency and coverage to protect your environment and preserve your health against mold and 99% of bacteria and viruses, including COVID-19. With pricing to match your budget and standards to meet your highest expectations, we invite you to contact us for a free analysis of your weekly, monthly, or single-use needs. COVID-19's impact is strong, but our commitment to restoring your safety is even stronger. Treeline Divine Sanitizing. Spread confidence.
One thing, two things. Blue thing, all things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
What started as a local insurance company with humble beginnings has grown to serve an entire region. Colonial, Atlantic Medical, Security and General, and NEBA are now unifying as CG Atlantic. Though our names have changed, our founding promise remains the same. We are still the company that has always and will always put people first. A new name for a stronger future.
Do you want to know more about the scriptures, the early Christian church, its teachings, suffering, other religions, the authenticity of the Bible? The Anglican Theological Institute is for you. Enroll in a 3-year certificate program. Classes are conducted from NASA and Freeport on Saturday mornings. Don't miss a class. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with high-speed internet. Contact us at 603-2481. Visit our Facebook page. Pick up an application form at any Anglican church or at Addington House on Sands Road. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Today is the day, October 5th. All schools are back in session. Pleased to have Dr. Marcellus Taylor, Director of Education, Safety First Education Always. Doc, thank you so much for being back here on Bahamas at Sunrise. I know you've been working all weekend, probably many weekends in preparation for not just today, but going forward in this new learning environment.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure to be here to speak with people of the Bahamas. But I want to make it clear that there are many people in education who've been working a lot of long hours, a lot of new things that we're doing, and a lot of colleagues embracing the challenge. So, I'd like to thank them for their work too.
Yeah. Well, on that topic, what has been the main goals of the Ministry of Education at this time and over the last several months?
Well, our core business is to deliver quality education, and so it's our job to try and find ways to do that in spite of COVID-19. And you might recall that as soon as schools were closed in March, we transitioned into a virtual learning platform in order to continue to deliver our core services. And over the course of the summer, what we were doing was strengthening up our ability to operate in the virtual domain, because we realized that with COVID-19, we could be in one situation today and another situation tomorrow. And so we talk about having three working models, one which deals with face-to-face, which is what we know, but one that also goes to the next end of that spectrum, which is if we cannot access the campus, that we go completely virtual. That one is the one that is more difficult, more challenging, because it's new. It requires some new technologies. It requires some new ways of dealing with things, some systems and so on, training of personnel. And so over the course of the summer, we were strengthening up our ability to deal with that part of it. Of course, we were also looking at issues around safety and how we could ensure the health and safety of students and our staff and keep the environments as safe as possible. So we were developing protocols and purchasing and procuring the sanitation items to try and be able to deal with that. And so, the summer was a full summer. We engaged in a lot of professional development and a lot of consultation with various stakeholders to try and make sure that what we put forth for now is something that is workable and could have some reasonable success.
What is readiness? And are you comfortable that going forward today, everything is set, teachers are ready, obviously students have been probably waiting for this moment, a lot of them. Do you feel comfortable with all of the plans that have been put in place?
Well, I feel confident that we're on the right track. Of course, in this kind of thing, anytime you're going into something new, there will be some growing pains, there will be some challenges. And we want the public to be aware of that and to have patience with us as we move through this new dispensation in education. But we are confident that the plans that we have, the persons that are trained, they're becoming stronger and more confident as we go along. Many schools had PDA meetings to try and help parents to understand what their role would be, because it's very clear that all of us have specific roles to play, and all of us need to play our roles in order for the whole thing to come together. But as we move forward and as people get more comfortable and more confident and understand things better, we have every confidence that the aim in education will be in the right trajectory. Yes.
Yeah. What do you say to teachers? Obviously, they're critical to this entire process. What message do you wish to impart to teachers as they officially begin this school year, even though they've been working so hard over the last several weeks?
Well, I'd like to say to teachers and school administrators that you are competent. You're persons who have been in this field for a considerable period of time. Everything may seem daunting when it's new, But if we work together, we collaborate as we've been doing over the summer in really impressive ways. And if we follow the command, if we all, put our attentions to doing what we are asked to do, we'll have success at the end of the day. And when we're embracing the kind of change that we are embracing, it's both filled with anticipation and excitement, but also trepidation and fear. And what we have to do is to de-emphasize the latter and build on the excitement and the possibilities that are there. And we've been saying to teachers that if we work in the particular ways that we are saying that we should work, we believe that the quality of education can go up considerably, while the individual burden to each teacher could diminish. And that's a winning combination. You get better performance and have to put in less work as an individual. I mean, that's what you always work for. Try to make it easier to get things better.
Yeah. So, Dr. Marcellus Taylor, Director of Education. Today, October 5th, marks the official start of the new school year. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Dr. Taylor?
Yes, thank you very much. I'd like to say to parents that your children will be in good hands, whether they are in the complete virtual format or even in face-to-face. Schools have worked to develop plans, and so the plans are different because we've tried our best to allow schools and communities to get their comfort zone. So some schools will be face-to-face completely. Some schools will be doing blended. Some schools will be completely virtual. But if parents keep in touch with the school and follow the command of that particular school, then I think we'll all be fine. So we'd like to thank everyone again, including parents for the patience and students for their diligence. We'd also like to thank all of those students who took advantage of the opportunities to complete their BJC and BGCSE. Those went quite well. And, we're excited to be able to deliver quality education to the Bahamian people. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. And thank you as well as we continue to move forward, upward, onward together. Dr. Marcellus Taylor, Director of Education. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things. Blue thing, old things. Things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us here on Bahamas at Sunrise. It has been a pleasure, especially for me, to be back with you today. And of course, looking forward to continuing to move forward as we close out 2020 in this last quarter of the year. Phil, it was a good show.
Yes, absolute pleasure. I'm still excited to have you back, looking so wonderful and happy.
Yes, tired, Phil, tired, but by the grace of God, you can't see that on the camera.
Oh boy, well listen, everybody, continue, especially those of us here in New Providence. We can't put our guards down. We certainly have to continue to be our brother's keeper, care concern, social distancing. We got to get a hold on this thing.
We really do. We really do. So make sure that you're wearing your mask, that you're washing your hands as often as possible, sanitizing in between, only going absolutely where you need to go, and interacting with those you absolutely have to interact with. And we're hoping and praying that these numbers will come down. Certainly would be a very sad Christmas if we can't gather together with our families. So even if we make that the goal, let's try to set something in mind so that we have something to look forward to, and we want to get rid of these numbers as quickly as we can. In the meantime, though, we want to make sure that you guys have a wonderful week, especially all of our students and teachers returning to the classroom for the first time today. And to all the mummies who are managing these homeschool systems, be encouraged. You all take care. Make it a wonderful week. See you Friday.
Bye-bye.